You know, all those smart devices we love, our watches, our cars, our home assistants, well, they're constantly sending our personal data to these huge, far-off servers. Today, we're going to look at a new technology that promises to change all of that. But there's a pretty big catch you might not see coming.
For the longest time, AI has lived way out there in the cloud, in these massive remote data centers. But that's all starting to change. We're talking about a huge shift, one that brings that intelligence from those distant servers right into the devices we hold in our hands and have in our homes.
And this whole thing really starts with the Internet of Things, or IoT. Just picture it, a global network of smart devices, everything from your watch to self-driving cars, all connected, all talking, and all generating an absolute tsunami of data every single second.
Now, traditionally, the playbook was simple. Send all of this data back to the cloud to get processed. But as the number of these devices just explodes, that centralized approach is, well, it's starting to show its cracks. It's hitting a breaking point. I mean, think about it, right? Sending data miles and miles away creates delays, what we call latency. It costs a fortune to transfer that much information over networks. And, maybe most importantly, it means our sensitive, personal data is being shipped off to remote servers, opening it up to all kinds of security threats.
So what's the fix? Well, let's dive into the solution. Edge AI. This is a game-changing idea that brings the processing power, the AI's brain, so to speak, directly to the device itself, right there at the edge of the network where the data is actually created.
And honestly, the difference is like night and day. Cloud AI is kind of like having to call headquarters for every single decision and then wait for them to get back to you. Edge AI, on the other hand, empowers the local team right there on the ground to act instantly. It keeps everything local, fast, and way more secure.
And look, the research on this is crystal clear. As you can see here, when you stack Edge AI against Cloud AI across the things that really matter, like reducing delays, saving bandwidth, and using less energy, Edge AI just comes out way ahead every single time.
All right, let's break it down. First up, latency. That's just a fancy word for response time. Now, on this chart, see those big orange bars? That's the delay for Cloud AI. And the tiny yellow ones, that's the delay for Edge AI. For something like a self-driving car that needs to make decisions in a split second, Edge AI can slash that critical delay by over 87%. And in that situation, a delay isn't just annoying, it could be the difference between a near miss and a disaster. Okay, next up, bandwidth. Just look at the amount of data Cloud AI has to send. Those towering orange bars tell the whole story. But because Edge AI processes data right on the spot, it sends way, way less. You can see it in those little yellow bars. For things like remote health monitoring, this can mean using up to 89% less bandwidth. That saves money and stops our networks from getting totally bogged down.
And all that constant communication, well, it absolutely kills your battery life. This chart here shows how much power is being used. Those orange bars, that's Cloud AI, just constantly draining power, sending data back and forth, back and forth. But by keeping the processing local, Edge AI, that's the yellow, saves over 78% of the energy on wearable devices. That means your watch, your sensors, your drones, they can all last so much longer on a single charge.
So, Edge AI seems like the perfect solution, doesn't it? It's faster, it's cheaper, it's more private. But here's the twist. Making it easier and faster to process information on our devices, well, that doesn't solve a much deeper, more fundamental problem. In fact, it might actually be making it worse.
And that brings us to a really crucial question. We figured out where to process our data more efficiently. But does that really solve the core issue with the data itself? Specifically, our AI's completely relentless appetite for more and more of it. You know, the core problem, as experts from Stanford's Institute for Human-Centered AI are pointing out, isn't just about the location of the processing. It's about AI's insatiable, just unending hunger for data in the first place.
So whether the AI lives in the cloud or on the edge, both types are fueling this massive race for data acquisition. Companies are just scrambling to build bigger and bigger data sets to train their models, and that's putting an unprecedented amount of pressure on our personal privacy.
And here's the thing. Our current privacy laws are just not built for this. A lot of them are based on principles from the 1970s. They were designed for a world of filing cabinets, not for data-hungry generative AI. They just can't keep up with the scale and the speed of this new data race.
So this is the really critical point. We need to do a lot more than just build faster tech. We have to fundamentally rethink our entire approach to data rights in this new age of AI.
So what do?
Well, privacy experts are suggesting a three-pronged strategy, not just to put a bandage on the old system, but to build a completely new one that puts us, the individuals, back in control of our own data. First things first, we need to completely denormalize data collection. Right now, the default is that they collect our data, and we have to go searching for some hidden button to opt out. That's backward. The default should be opt-in. Companies should have to ask for our explicit permission first. Privacy should be the starting point, not something we have to fight for.
Second, we've got to focus on the AI data supply chain. We deserve to know the entire journey our data takes, from the moment it's scraped off a website to how it's used to train some massive AI model. We need real transparency and accountability.
And finally, we need to completely flip the script on how we manage all this. We need new technologies, new tools that actually help us exercise our data rights simply and effectively. Things that give us real practical control over our digital lives without having to be a tech expert. So let's wrap this all up. A technical solution like Edge AI is, without a doubt, a huge leap forward. It makes our devices faster, more efficient, more responsive. But it is not a silver bullet. It doesn't solve that deeper, societal challenge of who truly gets to control our data in a world that's increasingly driven by AI.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. As this incredibly powerful technology moves out of the cloud and gets more and more integrated into our daily lives, into our homes, our cars, and even on our bodies, the real question isn't just about what the technology can do, but who gets to decide what it should do.